Welcome to the Somos Sunnyside podcast, brought to you by the Communications Department of the Sunnyside Unified School District. Thank you for tuning in while we share stories about the bright side of education.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. That's right, we are Sunnyside. And I'm your host. My name is Jose Castellum, and I'm the proud superintendent of the Sunnyside Unified School District, hoping to bring you another great episode with great people and great stories. And so today, we're going to talk to some former students, some DV Jaguar graduates that were in the Ed Professions program. And so, as you know, in Sunnyside, we have college and career academies at both Sunnyside High School and Desert View High School. And you know, we're very intentional about the student experience. And so we want to make sure that students have the right experiences as they make decisions on what they want to do as they graduate from high school. And so today we're going to tell those stories. And so I have Ximena Mata that's here, and she currently is a teacher, a third grade teacher at Liberty Elementary. And go Liberty Rams. My son was actually a student there way back in the day. So Liberty's got deep roots. And so we also, welcome. How are you, Ximena?
Hi, I'm doing good, thank you.
You're doing all right?
Happy, excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you here. We're happy to hear your story, and we're going to get to that here pretty quick. But I want to introduce all of our guests here today. And we also have Yaritza Grijalva, who is also a DV grad and currently works at Ocotillo Early Childhood Center as one of the childcare workers there. And so, welcome, Yaritza. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very excited.
Yeah. How them little kids treating you? Huh?
Wild. It's been challenging, but I love my kiddos. So that's
good.
what I gotta say.
Good. They always need good people around them, and
Yes.
and they're in great hands at Ocotillo.
Yes.
Our coyotes from Ocotillo. And last but definitely not least is we have Melanye Macias, and she currently is a parapro at Gallego Intermediate, right? And so, you know, you're in the classroom, you're assisting students, you're assisting the teacher, and so how's that been for you?
It's been awesome. I love it.
That's awesome. So let's get to know a little bit about you guys. You know, I want you guys to each introduce yourself. I mean, obviously, I've already said who you are, but tell us a little bit about your experience. You know, from what I understand is, I think all of you came through our system, right? You're Sunnyside students, obviously graduated from Desert View High School, but tell us a little bit about your experience as a student, and tell us why you chose to get into this career field. So we're going to start with Ximena here because she is our teacher. She's gone through some cool programs that she's going to tell you about, and she went from being a student to teaching students. So tell us a bit about your journey, Ximena, and you know how you got to where you're at today.
Hi, so I'm Ximena. So yeah, I was in Sunnyside District. My early years, I went to the preschool here. I went to Los Niños. In that transition, I moved to Mexico, came back as a sophomore at DV, and from there they introduced me to the program of Education's Rising. They offered me a survey asking if I was interested in, working with kids, education. I put yes. Time went by and they called me back and like, hey, the program is coming to Desert View. Do you want to join? I was very happy to be part of it. That's where I met Miss Skeggs. That's where all my story happens there. I've always been very happy to be around kids and work with kids. I just wasn't fully sure. But going into the program really gave me that hands-on experience of going into classrooms, doing a lot of different crafts and activities that just set my mindset that I wanted to be around kids. I still wasn't sure if I wanted to be a teacher. So when I graduated, I first went to the U of A into biology. I did a full year on biology, but I wasn't really happy. Something was missing in my experience in college. So I went back and contacted Miss Skeggs again. She put me in contact with the people of the College of Ed at the U of A, and they helped me transition from biology to elementary education. That's where I met my teacher, Maria Orozco. They were very supportive with me. They helped me throughout my entire career. If I had any questions, I was able to go up to her. And they put me in contact with Liberty. I felt like the education raising program really helped me because when I was taking classes through Pathways, And the U of A, I already had a lot of knowledge of the topics that I've already seen when I was in Desert View. I was always participating, like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this, or I did this before, and just brought different ideas to the classroom. So I didn't feel like I was lost. I really felt very prepared and ready to get started with the next steps. When I graduated, I did my student teaching at Liberty for a full year with Miss Molina in 3rd grade, and then when I was done observing, they offered me to do my student teaching placement at Liberty, so I stayed. After I was there, they offered me a contract to work at Liberty once I graduated.
That's right. We hire our own here, right? And so, wow, what a journey. You know, I want you in a moment to tell me a little bit more about Ed Rising. Obviously, you were in the Pathways program with Maria Orozco from the U of A. You know, shout out to you know, Miss Orozco there that has been a great partner of ours, you know, in terms of the Pathways program. Miss Molina, I did some. I was in graduate school with her. I think we got our masters together, so she's doing great things at Liberty as well. And so, you know, it's so neat to hear, right? That it sounds like you were just fully prepared. You know, you met the right people, you got in the right programs, and you went through this journey the right way and prepared. And here you are. You're a 2021 graduate of Desert View High School. And you know, you're in your first year teaching, which is pretty awesome. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
Super proud of you. And so we'll come back here in a little bit. You also mentioned Miss Skeggs. And so Miss Skeggs definitely is an amazing teacher. She's the Ed Professions teacher at Desert View High School. And all three of you were in this program, right? And so, you know, talk a little bit about your experiences and how Ed Professions prepares you and, you know, to be in that right frame of mind of whether this is something you want to pursue or you don't want to pursue, right? You know, in terms of education. But obviously you guys are all fit for the job, and you guys are all wanting to work with kids, right? And pay it forward. And so Yaritza, tell us a bit about your journey. I know right now, as we mentioned, you're at Ocotillo. You're one of the childcare workers at Ocotillo. So, you know, you graduated a couple years ago. Tell us how Ed Professions influenced you, how Ms. Skeggs influenced you, how it prepared you. So go right ahead, jump in.
So I've been in the district for 21 years, I can say. I went to Elvira Elementary School. From there I went to Challenger Middle School. And from there I went to Desert View High School. So when I was a junior, I didn't know what I really wanted to do, because senior year was coming up, and I'm like, goodness, like what do I want to do? And I was into my nursing degree, and as my, you know, I still didn't know what to do. So then I joined the education profession, and I saw Miss Skeggs, and you know what, my first year, it was very nice. You know, my second year, senior year, it was very, you know, nice going to internships to Ocotillo, because that's where I did my internships at Ocotillo. So there was more like hands-on engagement, and it's very nice to see like how you engage with the kids. And I'm very lucky that I did this program, because I don't know where I would be at. And I mean, education professions, it taught me while I'm working, you know, still in Pima College. Gonna graduate this year, going to U of A next year. So I'm very excited how this is very exciting for me.
Yeah. So you're transitioning to University of Arizona next year?
Yes. So
awesome. So tell me a little bit about, and I might have missed it, the internship piece you talked about.
Okay.
So is this internship through Ed Professions?
Yes.
Okay, so explain that to the listeners out there that, you know, I'm thinking of our high school students that are trying to pick a pathway right now, right?
Yes.
Whether it be at Sunnyside, be at Desert View, and I want parents and students and our listeners to hear that we do offer internships. We offer, you know, this experience of in that pathway, and for this one, we're talking Ed Professions.
Yes.
So tell us how that works a little bit.
So for the high schoolers, if you don't know what to do, there's always, you know, internships and, you know, I wanted to say because I wanted to guide, high schoolers who don't know what to do after high school, or, juniors, seniors, and it can be sophomores also. It doesn't have to be just, juniors and seniors. Try to get in this program just because, it's very helpful of your career, what you really want to do if you really want to become a teacher. This guides you and prepares you what to do in the future, like what I'm doing. And, it's very, this program is very
Structured,
yeah. Structured, very hands-on, if you want to become a teacher. So
it sounds like it gives you the right experiences, right?
Yes, it really does. It helped me when I wanted to get a job in the district.
Okay.
And I had my internships in Ocotillo, so now, when I graduated in 2023, I did my internships, and I applied at the district, and I got into Ocotillo. And shout out to my favorite teacher, Carrie Ravenscroft. Now she's in Sierra.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she used to be a teacher. Now she's a principal.
Yeah, she's a
principal.
ABSS.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
So cool. So the other thing, my other question to you is, so at the U of A, you're going to be headed to U of A.
Yes.
Is that part of the Pathways program as well?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
it is.
Pathways. Yes,
Awesome.
Pathways.
So there's a little common theme here, right?
Yes.
At professions, get a
Yes.
job in Sunnyside, and then you get into Pathways, and then you become a teacher. And so in Pathways, let's talk a little bit about Pathways, because we gave a shout out to Maria Orozco earlier. How do they assist you? Because I know there's definitely some perks about being in U of A Pathways teacher program, and what I mean by perks is there's a lot of support, right? I believe you're in a cohort. There's some stipends and stuff like that. So tell me about that. Jump in, either Ximena, Yaritza. Tell me how that works.
I think for the Pathways, it's actually very structured and very supported. Like, they help you step by step since when enrolling. Like, for me, when I was transitioning, they helped me contact the right person, fill in the right paperwork. When you're in the program, like, I feel our cohort, it's not that big or that small. It's just the perfect size where you really make connections with those around you and your cohort. Like, all the professors, very supportive. They're very comprehensive. The classes that we take, they are very fast-paced, but I think it really gives you that opportunity that you're learning it, and then you're going into the classrooms and you're able to apply it. You observe, you come back, and you reflect on what you're doing. What can I do? How did this help me? Or what things can we change?
Yeah.
So it's really a great
It's
program.
super intentional, right?
Yes.
Super intentional. And so now, we're going to shift our focus over here with Melanie, who's at Gallego Intermediate, and she's a parapro. So tell us about your journey. What was your experience like? Are you headed in the same pathway as Ximena and Yaritza, or tell us a bit about your journey, your experiences, and how you got where you're at today.
Okay, so I grew up in the Sunnyside District. I first started off at Drexel, then moved to Craycroft. Then for middle school, I went to Lawfer, and then for high school, I went to Desert View. And when I was at Desert View as a sophomore, was when they, I think it was a freshman, when they asked me, same as Ximena, questions about what I wanted to do as a career when I'm older. I was interested in education. I've always been interested in education because my family, or my parents, are both, or my dad worked for Sunnyside High School. He's retired from there already.
He was a math teacher, right?
Yes.
Is that Mr. Macias?
Yes.
I was going to ask you earlier, do you know the Macias connection? He's a wrestling coach.
Yes.
He's a math teacher. And then your
Right.
mom was a teacher too,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Or currently is a
She's-
teacher
yeah, she still
at
is.
Drexel, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
See, small world. They're pumping out teachers here.
So obviously, growing up, seeing them as teachers, I've always wanted to be a teacher myself. So when in high school they introduced the education professions class, I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. My class of 2022 was the first class, if you took education professions all 3 years, my class was the first to receive their CTE certificate, right? And through education professions, I also took the parapro test,
Okay.
which since I passed, I was able to be parapro certified, which is how I am a parapro currently with my parapro certification.
Okay.
But after I graduated Desert View in 2022, I started off at Ocotillo as my first year. As soon as I graduated high school, I started working for the district at Ocotillo. And then after 1 year there, I moved to Gallego Intermediate, which is where I'm at currently. And this next school year is going to be my 5th year in the district.
Awesome. And do you have aspirations to be a teacher? Or you don't know yet?
I'm still contemplating. I do know that I do want to be in education. But where exactly I want to do, or where I want to be in education, I'm not too sure yet.
Okay, and that's all right? I mean, it's okay you're ambitious about wanting to serve in education, and you just got to figure it out. So, we're gonna take a quick break. Don't go away, because we got so much more to talk about with these young individuals who are doing some amazing things here in Sunnyside Unified School District. We'll be right back.
You will love SUSD. Don't believe us? Just watch. In Sunnyside Unified School District, students dream big, learn boldly, and grow confidently. From hands-on STEM and arts programs to student athletes earning athletic scholarships, Sunnyside District gives every student a place to shine. Enrollment for the 26-27 school year is now available. Enroll today at susd12.org.
Hello, everyone. We are back, and we're talking to these young ladies. I still see them as they still look like students, but they're definitely young adults who are doing some pretty amazing things. You heard from Ximena, who is in her first year of teaching. You heard from Yaritza, who is at Ocotillo as a childcare worker and in the pathway programs, and soon will be a teacher in a couple years, or maybe less than that, right?
Yep.
And then we have Melanye, who's a parapro at Gallego Intermediate, whose parents are educators, and comes from a line of educators. And so, you guys are all doing some pretty amazing things. And I think it's like a proud papa moment for me right now, because the whole intent of having ed professions as a class is I'm seeing it right here before me, right? Like, the whole intent was to get students inspired and involved in education, and for them to figure out how they wanted to what they wanted to pursue in that pathway, right? And you have 3 different examples right here, right? And so, all of you got involved early in education, whether you were a parapro, childcare worker, and for 2 of you, it's leading to become a teacher, and maybe a 3rd teacher, once you figure out exactly what you want to do. But it is working like we thought it would work. And Melanie, you talked about completing a CTE sequence, earning that industry certification, having an advantage, right? You had a parapro certificate, right out of high school, and you could get to work right away and kind of just skip the line, right? Because, you had those credentials. And so that's what our Career Academy pathways are all about. And today the focus is at professions, and it also helps to have an amazing instructor like Miss Skeggs, right? That's truly passionate about what she teaches. But time and time again, when I hear her name come up, she goes above and beyond, right? She reaches out when she's punched out of work. She's already punched out, and she still makes time to make the phone calls to check in on you guys. One of you told a story, I believe it was you, Ximena, that she made the call for you, like, hold on, let me call the College of Ed. Let me
call them, shared email, we had a meeting, she was there, she even attended my graduation.
See, she's shaker mover, and she's at your graduation. So big shout out to Miss Skeggs as she continues to impact students on a daily basis. And I guess my question, and the question maybe from the viewers out there, is like, when did you know, like, what was that moment where you said, I want to be in education. I'm destined to be an educator, right? Because there's so many things that are out there in life, and sometimes we dream big, right? Like, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. That didn't work out for me, but here I am, and so what was that epiphany, that moment that you said, darn, I'm going to chase this dream of being an educator. So jump in, and tell us a little bit about when that light bulb went off, right? I don't know if that's the appropriate phrase, analogy, but when did it just click for you where it was just like, you know what, boom, I'm doing what I want to do. Go for it.
No, you're fine.
I think for me has always been clear, like since a younger age, always playing to be a teacher. Like I always wanted to be the teacher. I always had my
Were
cousins
you the bossy
around.
one?
Yeah, I was like, all right, you're gonna say you're gonna do this.
Go to timeout.
Yeah, for sure. And then definitely when I went into the program at Desert View, the first time that they took us to a group at Los Niños with kids, that was the moment where I realized I want to do this. Like going to the classroom, seeing the teachers, how they decorated their classrooms, how well behaved the kids were, how they managed different things was the moment where I want to do that. I want to be able to do that one day, to talk to my kids like this, to have my own classroom. And once I went into Pathways, giving me my own classroom was like, I am in the right spot. And just going back and listening to the kids where they give you those little messages, those little notes that they leave everywhere. It's just like I'm in the right spot. Just that moment, like I'm where I'm supposed to be right now.
That's right. You are. And you're here in Sunnyside, which is even better.
For sure.
So you were going to say, Yaritza, what about you?
For me, it's so funny because when I was, younger, I would say, oh, I hate all my teachers. Or, there would be, Yaritza, can you stop talking? And I'm like, oh my goodness. And you know what? It's so funny. It clicked to me when I used to do my internships in Ocotillo. And I was like, I really want to do this. Like, it clicked like, you have to do this. And being my first year working at Ocotillo, this will be my fourth year. I loved it. The kids, like, sweet messages come, here Miss Yadi, here's Dutch Bros, teacher appreciation, when it comes to teacher appreciation week. And it doesn't even have to come at teacher appreciation, it could come any day. So for me, and now doing college, is very, like, recognized, like, oh my goodness, and now I've been recognized with parents that used to be my teachers from Elvira and Challenger and Desert View. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching your kid. Yeah. So,
that's so cool.
Teaching your kids. And
I bet when you guys are in the classroom, you pick out that little kid, that little travieso or traviesa, and you're like, that was me. That was me when I was a kid, huh?
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I'm probably speaking for myself. But you are probably the real sharp kid, right? That's answering the question. You're probably saying, that was me.
Yeah, no, it's so funny because the other day I had my student. She was just talking, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I was like, "Guys, can we have a moment of like quiet time?" And then I thought of it, and I was like, "Oh, like it reminded me of myself when I was smaller because I used to be so talkative." So it's very amazing how education professions and the district. It's like a family community. So
sure
that's what I
is.
like about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I agree with you. I think it's a tight community here, and I think the cool thing is a lot of people like to come back and give back, right?
Yes.
They like to pay it forward, and I always say I'm blessed to serve a community who served me, right, as a student, right? And so I graduated probably a few years before you guys from high school, but no, I'm kidding. It was a long time ago. And so I got to say this has been one of my favorite podcasts just because it's so cool to see former students being successful, right? And it's so cool that we have set up programs for you to be successful, for you to be in. And it sounds like all of you have received the right type of support to be successful. And so we don't take that lightly. We're happy to hear that, but it does take amazing people like Miss Skeggs. It takes good schools like Desert View High School, and it takes a good we call it the student experience. So the student experience has to be a positive one for all our students, and you guys are proof that Sunnyside kids can kick butt, right? That they can do good things, they can do hard things, right?
Yes.
And it just shows when you put in the work and you're willing to work that there's benefits at the end. And so you read my mind, Yaritza. We're coming up on Teacher Appreciation Week, and I just got back from a conference. It was actually a National School Board conference, and one of the guest speakers, or keynote speakers, I should say, talked about how we all have a story, right? We all have a story of that adult that influenced our lives, right? That influenced our lives in a positive way. And for a lot of us, it's, man, this person helped me have confidence in myself, right? Like, because we all doubt ourselves here and there, right? We all feel like, am I in over my head? Is this something attainable? But there's always those people in our lives that say, you got this. Like, you have the tools to be successful, and they make you feel really good about yourself. And you know, you go out there and validate it, right? Because you prove that you can. And so I want to give each one of you an opportunity to talk about, you know, whether it was a teacher, a coach, a counselor, you know, your music teacher, you know, whoever it was. I want to give you the opportunity to give a nice shout out to that individual and tell us a bit about how they influenced you, how they impacted your path, right? And how they helped you get to where you're at today, because all three of you have bright futures. I mean, you know, we have a first year teacher, we have a teacher to be, and we have an individual here that's also maybe on the teacher path, but working with kids, right? And so, you know, as you're thinking about that, you know, I'll give you like 2 seconds to think about that, 1, 2, and then let's, you know, tell me a little bit about that. Who's that person that comes to mind when we explain that?
I'm sorry, I really have to steal this one. I know we mentioned, but Miss Skeggs has definitely made a big impact in my life. Like, I keep bringing her name up like every single time. Like, when I was in high school, I was also a teen mom. So she really guided me and supported me. She really made a connection with me when I had my daughter. She was there for me and for her. She really motivated me in many different ways, that you can do this, like, I need support, like, do you need anything for this? Like you said, I got to a point where I wasn't sure, okay, I don't know what I to do, like, if I'm going to graduate, I don't know if I want to go to college, I don't know how to apply to college, like, how do I pay for it and all of it? And she really just supported me. She took time of her day to meet with me, sat down, fill out the forms. I did my application very last minute, and she was there in every step I took. When I went into pathways, even when after I graduated, she still keeps checking in with me. I see her once in there. Like I said, she attended my graduation. She has been wanting to go to my classroom. She has donated things to my classroom. She's just that person, like that teacher that has really supported me throughout my whole path. And of course, I can't leave my team out of Liberty, my mentors and my principal. They're very, very supportive. I can't say more than thank you to Ms. Molina and Ms. Gonzalez Rojas from third grade team. Mm-hmm. They're just the best. They're guiding me at this moment still, trying to figure out still how to move on from specific situations. And I mean, I think I'm getting a lot of great experience from teachers who have a lot of experience in the field. So
cool. They
have really left a mark in my heart.
Yeah. God, I think we're going to have to put a statue of Miss Skeggs up there.
I agree.
Don't tell her that.
She
don't
definitely deserves it.
I'm kidding. She is so impactful, you know. She's an inspiration for sure. Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, the stallions are not Skeggs, but I always have her in my heart. Can I choose two?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
So mine is Carrie Ravenscroft.
Okay.
She was my 5th grade teacher. She always guided me of, she was an ELA teacher. So, reading, I had a hard time a little bit of, my writing and reading. So she always, took out of her time, doing tutoring. And I felt so, like, oh my goodness, like, I have your help. And she was a great, teacher. And when I applied at Ocotillo, I ran into her. I was like, oh my goodness, like, I can't believe you're a principal assistant. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah. So it's very, she's very nice. Like, she'll help you in anything. Up to this day, she'll still check up on me. And then another shout out to Duddleston. So Duddleston is one of my favorites. She worked at Challenger. She's seen me growing up and in high school also. So up to this day, she'll be like, hi, Miss Yadi, how are you? So huge shout out to her also.
So she was your principal at Challenger
and
at
Desert View.
That's pretty cool.
So yep, and Carter too. So Miss Carter. So I can name all of them, but so cool. No, just 2.
So fun fact, Miss Duddleston's dad was my high school principal.
Oh really?
Wow.
Nice.
Small world, huh?
Right.
And what about you, Melanie?
Well, talking about our favorite teachers, obviously I can't not mention Miss Skeggs. She was the one that really pushed me to be in education. Obviously, it got me to where I am right now. But other than Miss Skeggs, I also remember some few teachers from Craycroft. I was a Sun student at Craycroft, so I remember my Sun teachers, Miss Valenzuela, which is my 3rd grade teacher, Miss Cuevas, my 4th grade teacher, Miss Swaim was my 5th grade teacher, and Miss Swaim, she actually, when I graduated, she actually came up to me and saw me after I graduated. I couldn't even believe that she remembered me, but she came up to me and said congratulations, which really meant a lot to me. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. You guys all got super cool stories about, you know, who impacted you, who influenced you, and you know, that's why you get into teaching, you know, and I want to assure you guys, you know, you're not making a mistake getting into the education field. It's you know, you're not going to get rich, you know, it's not the highest paying, but we're getting competitive here in Sunnyside. I will say that our salaries are getting a lot more competitive. We've given raises for the 4th straight year, and so we're proud about that. But, you know, going back to my point of it's a very rewarding job, right? Yes. And you have the ability to impact students. I always say this to people, in a positive way or a negative way, depending on how you choose to impact students, right? And so students remember, just like you guys are talking about, you know, your experience with your teachers, just like you're talking about, you know, there's an old saying out there that you don't always remember, you know, what you've learned, but you remember how people made you feel, right? Yes. And so, and you guys are talking about that. You're talking about these people that had a lot of confidence in you, made you feel like you were valued, and that you had a lot to offer. And here you are. You're like killing it. Like you guys are on a great pathway to success, and stick to it. You know, continue to be learners, continue to want to get better, and continue to want to serve, you know, the people of this community, because it's a cool community, special community. And so there's great things happening in Sunnyside, and it's because we have great students like you. And so, you know, we hope that we get a lot of students listening to this. I'm sure Miss Skeggs is going to show it to her Ed Professions class. Might be the homework on Monday. And so I'm sure she's going to have you guys come back and be speakers at some time. And so it's cool. You know, you said full circle right now, and it is full circle. This is exactly what it's about. And so I can't tell you how proud I am of you guys as you know, the person, you know, in charge of this school district and my role. Because that's our hope, right? As leaders, as administrators and leaders of this district, we want students to have a very positive and impactful experience where they feel like they have meaning in life, and you guys obviously do. And so, you know, to Ximena, you know, you better stay with us. You know,
yeah,
you better.
I'm not planning going anywhere.
I hope you signed your contract for next year already.
Yes, already signed up since
good.
day one.
Awesome. And Yaritza and Melanie, like, you know, hey, we can't wait till you guys get in the classroom or choose to do something else in education, and we hope you stay in Sunnyside, because that's where you belong.
Yes, we do.
All right. Any last thoughts? Any last shout outs as we wrap up?
I'll just say to parents who are seeing this to really support your students out there who want to go into education. Like we always hear that, you know, you're not going to get rich from it, but you learn and you receive so much love and support that it's just, it makes up for the other.
That's
to
right.
be honest. Just
very
support.
rewarding.
Yes.
Absolutely. And, you know, and there is an opportunity to make a little money, right? You just you've got to put in more work. You got to go get the masters, and you got to, right? And there's opportunities inside the classroom, outside the classroom. You know, there's opportunities to grow, is what I'm saying. And so, but you're right. There's such that connotation of, oh, don't teach, you're not going to make any money. Don't go into education, you're going to be poor. You know, and that's not always the case. Any other thoughts?
If you are graduating from the Ed Professions class and you are thinking about choosing Sunnyside to come back and work, I definitely think you should. This Sunnyside School District feels like a community, feels like a family. yeah, I don't regret working here at all.
I feel like I gotta pay you something for saying that. Geez, that was good, and it was just authentic and genuine. So no, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I mean, obviously I feel the same way. I'm biased. I've been here my whole life, and this is the only district I've ever worked for. So, and here's where I plan to retire. Not yet though. Not yet. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much. As I said earlier, this has probably been one of my favorite episodes, and so happy that you guys are doing great things, and we're here to support you. And for our listeners out there, this could be your experience. If it's students listening out there, if it's parents listening out there, or even the coworkers, that just spread the word that great things are happening in Sunnyside. And this is just one pathway. There's several pathways that we offer at our high schools. And so, with that, we're going to sign off here and want to thank our guests for being here. And so, that's it for this episode of Somos Sunnyside. Hasta la próxima. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it entertaining. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and share our podcast with la comunidad. For updates on future episodes and more, be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website at susd12.org. We appreciate your support and can't wait to have you back for the next episode. Hasta la próxima vez en Somos Sunnyside.